clock has struck 3 a.m. The witching hour has begun. Are you ready to be initiated into the Black Magic Coven? Join your sisters, Andrea,
Kaylee,
Liz,
and Marissa,
as we meet to discuss the macabre, creepy, and sinister. We call upon the Four Corners to summon a Wendigo. The Wendigo was gaunt to the point of emaciation, its desiccated skin pulled tightly over its bones. With its bones pushing out over its skin, its complexion the ash gray of death, and its eyes pushed back deep into the sockets, the Wendigo looked like a gaunt skeleton recently disinterred from the grave. What lips it had were tattered and bloody. Unclean and suffering from suppurations of the flesh, the Wendigo gave off a strange and eerie odor of decay and decomposition, of death and corruption. Basil Johnston, an Ojibwe teacher and scholar. So, ladies, are you familiar with the Wendigo?
Yeah, I am a little bit. I've definitely heard about it in pop culture, so I can't say that I am a scholar on the subject, but I know of it.
Yeah, I would agree with Liz. I've definitely heard stories, but I don't know a ton about it. I know the general lore.
Same.
So going through the timeline, starting out with the Algonquin legend describing the creature of a giant with a heart of ice, sometimes thought to be entirely made of ice. Its body is skeletal and deformed with missing lips and toes, all the way to current day iterations of the Wendigo. What did you guys, like when you hear Wendigo, like however you pronounce it, what do you guys picture?
I picture like antlers, but I have my association from Pet Sematary and Stephen King.
Yeah, I always think of like a large creature with antlers that wants human flesh.
Yeah, see, I don't have the antler connection for some reason. I mostly just think of like a very tall, skinny, like almost werewolf-like creature, and I don't know why that is. There must be something that I saw that connected to a Wendigo that looked like that, but I can't totally figure out what it is. But yeah, just like it mostly human-like, but like with claws and stuff, and very skinny and like big.
Fair. So according to ethnohistorian Nathan Carlson, it's also been said that the Wendigo has large, sharp claws and massive eyes like an owl. When you look at the etymology of the Ojibwe word Wendigo, it actually translates to owl, malevolent spirit, or cannibalistic monster. And in Cree, the word is greedy person, cannibal, giant man eating monster. So originally, when you look at like old school lore of the Wendigo, there is a lot in common with the owl that dates back to Native American lore. Also, ancient Mesopotamian myth, the goddess of death was represented with owl-like features, which was very Wendigo-like. And owls are commonly associated with witchcraft in parts of South Africa. In Aztec and Mayan cultures, they feared the owls as they were considered to be symbols of death. And Egyptians believe that owls protect the spirits of the dead. Fun fact, owls are also cannibals, so lots of parallels there between owls and Wendigos, which you never see in pop culture, or I think a lot of representations of the Wendigo, which in research for the episode I thought was very interesting, but the claws and everything makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I honestly didn't know that owls were cannibalistic.
Yeah, not all owls, but there are a lot of species, and as research has gone on, owls are kind of creepy. I think they're gorgeous and they're very smart, and I don't want one to get mad at me, but you know, like they steal other birds' nests and they eat each other, and
they apparently murdered humans.
Yeah, they have awesome long legs under their feathers.
Yeah, I know a lot of people think some alien sightings have actually been owls.
Well, they can turn their head 360 degrees. Like, that's creepy enough, you
right?
know?
And they have three eyelids.
What the fuck?
Oh, wow. And the weird legs that, you know, if you don't know, they have.
But if anybody hasn't seen the meme that goes around with like a girl with a dress with pockets and the owl showing its legs off,
Yeah, it's so good.
you guys got to look that up because it's amazing.
It's pretty wonderful.
So lots of versions of the Wendigo, and the most popular one in pop culture, not the traditional lore, is the Deer Man Wendigo, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But starting off, I just wanted to chat a little bit about the origins. So the Wendigo is the part of a traditional belief system of Algonquin-speaking peoples, not just like talking about Algonquin as a tribe. Apparently all through Canada and the eastern seaboard, everybody that spoke this language, there's the Ojibwe, Salto, Cree, and Naskapi, and the Innu, all had belief systems that included the Wendigo in many different iterations, which I won't repeat them all, but there's something like 30 or 40 different versions of this word in these cultures. But common to all of these, the Wendigo is malevolent, cannibalistic, and supernatural, and very strongly associated with winter. So in the lore, Wendigos are often described to be giants, and I think that's something that seems pretty common. But whenever a Wendigo ate, it would just grow in proportion to whatever it just ate. So it would never be full. So like you eat something, you get bigger, you got to eat again, you get bigger. And they're portrayed as gluttonous and extremely thin due to starvation.
Makes sense to have an association with winter, especially like when there's a fear, probably culturally, that, you know, a lot of natives could starve during the winter and not have enough crops to eat, I guess. Like their fears are sort of personified by it, sounds like.
So that's exactly, and during harsh winters, a lot of theory is that the Wendigo legend was told as a story to prevent cannibalism within their tribes. So they would promote suicide or even starvation was a better route to take than resorting to the atrocity of eating the flesh of one of your own. And the Wendigo is kind of been a resource for establishing values and coexistence in the people of the Algonquins. Because everybody has their own parables. The Wendigo is also a symbol for excess and gluttony. And in some traditions, humans overpowered by greed could turn into Wendigos. So it was a method of encouraging cooperation and moderation. So not necessarily eating human flesh could turn you into a Wendigo, but just being very greedy and selfish.
That's I feel like that's kind of interesting because it almost ties into like the 7 deadly sins kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
so you can be turned into a monster if you, you know, are doing excess of anything, like whether that's eating, you know, or like you said, like greed, if you just are like too greedy or whatever. I think that's kind of, I don't know. I always find that very interesting in like pop culture and stuff when they use the 7 deadly sins as a way to connect to some sort of like monster or something like that, because it's been done before. Like, and I think about like there's like a season of Dexter where like they use a lot of religious type stuff. But yeah, anyways, kind of off topic, but I do like that like idea of becoming a monster based on your actions, because it is kind of you know, you get what you deserve sort of concept. I don't know, it's kind of, it's creepy. It's like it's a good storytelling device, that's for sure.
Well, and in all aspects, I think it's a good teaching tool. Like if, you know, you're trying to get people to not behave a certain way and there's this repercussion that you're going to turn into this man-eating beast, basically. That's it's motivation to be a better human being.
It's interesting too because with this legend or lore, it's the person turning into the Wendigo as opposed to like the Wendigo coming after them. Like it's not an external
That's true.
fear, it's an internal one. So I find that interesting too, and it kind of goes off of like what Liz is saying, like you become the monster instead of the monster like gets you type thing.
Right.
Yeah, like a Krampus, like where Krampus comes to get you because you've been naughty. But
Right.
like, this is more like, yeah, I kind of like that. That's interesting.
Yeah. So different ways of turning is theories have, or in lore, you can eat a person and you can turn into a Wendigo, or you can be overpowered by greed and selfishness, Or in some cases, certain tribes would say that it can apply to an idea or a movement infected by greed or consumption if left unchecked, that it was a marker indicating an imbalance towards the larger community of human and spiritual beings. And out of equilibrium, individuals thought to be afflicted by the Wendigo spirit unravel and destroy the environmental balance around them. So just even not being, I guess, in tune with oneself and the community can also end up turning someone into a Wendigo. And it can be caused by more than a person. So events can also cause this phenomena. There is some study that was done in 1978 by Jack Forbes that the Wendigo can represent events like colonialism and its agents as Wendigos, since the process of colonialism ejected natives from their homeland and threw the natural world out of balance.
Interesting.
So looking at Manifest Destiny, Western expansion, from the Americas over the mountains in search of new lives, the country is seeking to be whole, stretching out its arms and consuming all it can, and we merely follow. So Wendigos are also expression of a dark aspect of human nature and the drive towards greed, consumption, and the disregard of other life in the pursuit of self-aggrandizement. So I like the part about the colonialism and looking at people coming to the Americas, displacing native people, and basically consuming them, and like stories coming out of that, of this malevolent spirit eating their people, I thought was very interesting and fitting.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I like. I always like the idea of people like that getting what's coming to them. So.
So coming out of the old folklore of the Wendigo, there was actually a word that still goes around in science circles called Wendigo psychosis. And one quote that I found by Lewis Bird, and I'm probably going to butcher this and I apologize, a Mushko Swampy Cree elder, she just walked away and was no longer human and very bad. She could be terrifying, she could kill, and she could exist without food, and she could do almost anything she wanted, and sometimes, for revenge, she would punish the people who mistreated her, and that's a certain kind of Wendigo, a very terrible one too.
I don't know, I kind of like it.
It's great, and it comes from a book called The Spirit Lives in the Mind, Omeshko Stories, Lives, and Dreams, and I have that in my to-be-read pile, which it has a few chapters on, it's spelled Wendigo in this particular book, but there are different instances where it's been reported that humans have become possessed by the Wendigo after being in a situation of needing food and having no other choice beside cannibalism.
Yeah, that's so fascinating because there are so many instances of people being in situations where that's what they turn to.
So I think the main difference would be a situation where you have people that are eating people when you're in close proximity to food.
Right.
And they choose to do that rather than travel 10 or 20 extra miles to get to a town.
Yeah, it's like they're not necessarily forced to out of survival. It's like they crave it.
Right.
Yeah. I read one story, I remember, because I read a little bit about this before we started recording, of some guy, I don't remember his name, whose him and his family were stranded like 25 miles away from a post for food. And granted, 25 miles away isn't close necessarily on foot, but it's close enough that why would he slaughter his wife and 5 children?
So this is Swift Runner.
Okay.
He made his living as a trapper and a guide for the Northwest Mounted Police. And the whole town loved him. He had 6 kids.
Wait, what year was this? Sorry to interject.
1878.
Gotcha. Okay.
So he was doing his thing. He started kicking back some bourbon, and things went south.
Like cannibalistic South.
Well, yeah. So he got fired and was kicked out of his tribe because he became a violent alcoholic.
Okay.
And in that winter of 1878, he took his wife, his 6 children, his mother-in-law, and his brother out into the forest. So the way the story goes is that his oldest son died of starvation and was buried. At that point, what was understood to have happened is that Swift Runner succumbed to Wendigo psychosis and proceeded to eat the rest of his family.
Jeez.
Hudson Bay Company Post was 25 miles away, but he did not attempt to travel there despite the fact that he was a trapper and guide. Like, he knew what to do.
Familiar with, yeah.
Yeah, so in the spring, he staggered out of the woods, came up on a Catholic mission, and told everybody his family died of starvation. Well, at this point, this 6-foot-tall, 200-something-pound man did not look hungry. And so people were like, yeah, I don't think so. This is weird. The priest at the missionary said he was having crazy nightmares and, like, would wake up in the middle of the night screaming. So they called the police, they came, they take him, and he leads them to the campsite. Thankfully, he's honest, he takes them straight there, but what they found was devastating. There's piles of human bones, human skulls, some of the bones were cracked open, dry and hollow, so there was evidence he was eating the marrow.
Jeez.
Yeah, he reported that a Wendigo ate his whole family. But the police found that a monster did eat his family, but it was him. And he was executed by hanging at Fort Saskatchewan on December 20th, 1879. So that was one of the cases where somebody pled Wendigo psychosis, I guess you would say, in the court of law, but he was found guilty.
That's wild.
So there
hasn't been... is there, like, modern cases of Wendigo psychosis, or is this pretty, like...
Yeah,
old
so
school?
I think the most recent one I found was the case of Vince Weiguang Li. And he ended up on a bus going on a Greyhound Canada bus. And he was sitting by 22-year-old Tim McLean.
Oh, God, I know what you're talking about.
I remember! Oh, my God.
Yeah, so McLean was sleeping with his headphones on.
Mhm.
When Lee, sitting next to him, suddenly produced a large knife, began stabbing him in the neck and chest, and then later decapitated him on the bus,
Jesus.
Yes.
displaying his head to other passengers who had fled the bus in horror.
Oh, my God. Yes. I
So
remember
the
that.
driver and a couple other men tried to arrest him, but they were chased away. At this point, he runs back to the corpse and starts eating him. And then during a standoff, Lee says, "I have to stay on the bus forever." After he's tased twice, he gets handcuffed and put in the cruiser. But the kicker is the victim's ear, nose, and tongue were found in Lee's pockets.
Ugh.
And other parts of the body were never found, believed to have been consumed. So there were theories at this point of where they were driving through Canada, that he was possessed by a Wendigo at this point. And he had even said during his trial that God's voice told him that McLean was a force of evil and was about to execute him.
Oh. That's...
That is... And wait, what year was this?
Well, I should have written down the date it started. Lee was found to be not criminally responsible and was put in a high-security mental health facility and released on May 8th, 2015.
Okay, wow.
But it happened in 2008.
He was only in jail for a few years, so it was early 2000s when this happened.
Yeah, when did you say it was, Marissa?
2008.
Okay,
Oof.
yeah.
2008. Get it?
Zing.
That is terrible.
That's how you can remember next time. Come on. Come
that
on.
is true.
2008.
Did anybody just think, I like to eight?
Oh my God, no.
Apples and bananas. Apples and bananas. Yeah.
Now that's gonna be stuck in my head forever. Thank you.
Oh my God.
So we have these. There are cases of things. And I think it's interesting because Swift Runner gets executed, but in this other case, like, this guy gets off with, you know, insanity basically, and gets released. I think that in the end, in the scientific community, they've described the disorder as a rare historic account of cannibalistic obsession. Symptoms include depression, homicidal or suicidal thoughts, and delusional compulsive wish to eat human flesh. But they are actually a product of hostile accusations invented to justify ostracism or execution. So it's like, hey, I'm going to get convicted for this. I did a horrible thing, so I'm going to say I'm a Wendigo.
Yeah,
And-
how is he free now? This dude's
Yeah,
probably
that's
just like
insane.
chilling on fucking Tinder and Bumble, like going out on
Right?
dates and stuff. Like, what? No, this guy should not be. No, you don't just cut off someone's head and like.
Well,
It's
that's
not
what-
cool.
I was trying
Yeah.
to quickly
Crazy.
see if I could find like an update, and the closest thing I found was from 2018. And I don't see much about him other than it says Vince Lee got help. Good for him. Maybe he's feeling better today. My son's still dead. What happens if
Yeah.
he chooses not to take his medications? We know what he's capable of.
He's probably in like
Yeah.
protective custody or something. Nobody knows who he
Oh.
is.
Oh,
I,
that's terrible.
oh, the guy that he murdered had a son too.
It was grisly and like really terrifying.
I remember that story. It was, I had forgotten it until you mentioned it, but I remember when I heard about it initially, I mean, that is something that just is so graphic and insane that you see in movies. Like, that's not like it's just so fucked up,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
And just imagine
Have you
being
guys
on
ever ridden a
tour bus.
Greyhound any distance?
I don't think so. I've been on buses similar,
No, I haven't.
like chartered
Not-
buses.
I've been
but-
on
Yeah.
buses like with my class, you know, like where we all got on a charter bus together to go to travel somewhere, but I've never been on one with like the public, I guess. If
Okay,
that makes
so-
sense. Like,
Me
I've
either.
only been on with people I
I'll
know.
just add it up to a
Yeah.
misspent youth. I went all the way from Michigan to Kansas City on a Greyhound bus, which takes like 30 hours because of all the stops.
Jeez.
And you see
Yeah.
a lot of messed up stuff,
Yeah.
but this is like a whole nother like creepy
Well,
level
yeah.
of
Yeah. I hope not everyone's seeing some guy chop off another guy's head when they go on the Greyhound bus.
Yeah,
so.
it's not a good
But, yeah.
advertisement for the. I guess, and part of what I was reading, they talked about there was like some advertisement about like you don't ever see bus rage, like they were talking about road rage, and people like were like writing Greyhound like this is a terrible ad because of this thing that happened on your bus. Like you should
Oh,
not
yeah.
play. Yeah,
That's true.
It does look like maybe the guy who initially like beheaded the guy. He changed his name.
well, yeah.
Will Baker.
Will
Yeah, but
Baker,
also,
really?
like, in terms of
Mhm.
time frame,
Will
like,
Baker.
how long does it take to sever a head? I mean,
Yeah.
this,
I know.
So-
he did it pretty quick, it seemed like.
I've been watching a reality show about blacksmiths that make knives and stuff, and it's really great. And it depends on the knife.
Yeah. Like a Hatara, what is it?
So, like, depending on what he had and how sharp it was, if it could go through bone.
Marissa,
Yeah.
are you talking about the Kill Bill?
Yes,
Yeah.
like they'll just take it right off. Like if you have like the Hanzo sword or whatever, just
Yeah, the Hanzo.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but
this
how does
dude,
anyone get their hands on that? That
the
can't be like
Hatari Hanzo. I don't even know if that's real. But no, I mean, yeah, like what is this? This might be very, very morbid. It probably is. But I just wonder like what he used, and it just seems, it's so bad, so bad.
but if he's
Gnarly.
like inhabited by a Wendigo spirit, does it
Ah,
mean
that's
it could have been a
true.
butter knife?
you're more powerful.
Especially that picture of the Wendigo that you sent us earlier. Then it'd come right off. That dude had a lot of muscle.
So we're referencing the Marvel Wendigo, who
That
looks
Wendigo
a whole
was
lot
strong.
like Sasquatch, kind of muscular.
Crossed with the Hulk.
Yeah, hulky Sasquatch guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sexy. All right, so we talked a little bit about Wendigo psychosis and cases of people that had it. The thing that I think is the most badass of this entire thing is Jack frickin' Fiddler. So this guy is an OG Cree chief and medicine man. His ancestors have all been shamans, and they are known for defeating Wendigos.
That's cool.
Tight.
So, yeah, in any, I feel like, villain superhero story, you've got this Van Helsing character, and this is Jack Fiddler. So in his life, he actually claimed to having defeated 14 Wendigos.
Damn.
Which is great. And the saddest part of the whole thing is that usually in these situations, he was asked by family members or by the sick person themselves to kill them before they become a Wendigo, or if they've already become a Wendigo, they want to be euthanized. So in 1907, Fiddler and his brother were arrested by Canadian authorities for homicide. Jack Fiddler escaped captivity during a walk outside and hung himself and was found dead later in the day. This whole case is extremely sad. Following this, Joseph Fiddler went to trial, and an eyewitness said that the person that was killed was in deep pain and incurably sick. So a lot of the early Algonquin legend included people that were afflicted by the Wendigo syndrome would be inconsolable, moaning, screaming. It sounded a lot like seizures. They didn't know what a seizure was back then.
Sure.
But people would have to hold them down, and that the only way to cure Wendigo syndrome was to kill the person. There was no cure other than death. So that was the thing, and that these people were not aware of Canadian law, which was absolutely true. However, Joseph was convicted and sentenced to death. Further appeals, though, had secured his release. The order came 3 days after he died in 1909.
Jeez.
So to make this even sadder, up until this point, Fiddler's people had been the last Aboriginal people in North America completely under their own law. And without their leaders, they had to kind of give in and accept government rule.
Jeez. That sucks.
So I think a lot of that feeds back into the whole Wendigo and colonialism mythology ideal, that it really is a good representation of what was happening to Native people at that point.
Right.
And the frequency of Wendigo psychosis has decreased sharply in the 20th century as Boreal Algonquin people have come into greater and greater contact with European ideologies and more sedentary, less rural lifestyles. So going into kind of what I talked about earlier with like the Deer Man in pop culture, in 1910, Algernon Blackwood produced his novel The Wendigo, which I think is probably the most popular, and I'll reach out on a very small limb and say the best version of the Wendigo, named The Wendigo. It's a very short read. I highly recommend, if anybody hasn't looked into it, which I think a lot of people haven't, go check it out. Definitely worth reading. But it also gave to the rebirth of Larry Fessenden's 2001 movie Wendigo. Have you guys seen this movie?
No, I haven't either.
I cannot say that I have. I did start it, but I haven't finished it.
What year did it come out again?
2001.
2001.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going to proclaim it to be the best movie ever. I am going to say the next few minutes of the podcast are going to be a love letter to Larry Fessenden. But he is quite possibly the first to feature the antlers on a Wendigo. There is a little bit of evidence to describe the Deer Man design existing before this movie, but tying the Wendigo into a stag imagery is kind of like a regional thing with the myth. When you look at a lot of like Native American design, you have that the antlers and things, but whereas like looking at the Wendigo, that was never a thing. It was usually a gaunt spectral creature, kind of like a massive. I'm picturing like an 8-foot zombie.
Sure,
Mhm.
that is what it sounds like, kind of.
Yeah, is what the original Wendigo looked like. But for me, I love the antler deer
Me
man
too.
Wendigo look.
The antler thing
Yeah.
has always been stuck in my mind whenever the Wendigo
Yeah.
comes up. I don't know specifically what that started from, but yeah, that's just always been part of the Wendigo for me.
Mhm.
It's haunting and it sticks with you. So he specifically took this design from a story he was told in school with a combination of the Wendigo tale from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark and the classic Wendigo story by Algernon Blackwood. So he kind of like meshed all this stuff in his head and created this thing. So after the Wendigo comes out, he makes another movie called The Last Winter, which also has a Wendigo-esque deer-looking person.
I think I've seen that one.
Have you?
Now that you say that, yeah.
Yeah,
pretty
The
sure I
Last
have.
Winter is decent. Yeah.
Yeah. I've read it.
After that, he cameoed and helped rewrite the PlayStation 4 game Until Dawn, based on his Deer Man Wendigo figure.
Mhm.
And then for all the nerds that I love out there, Pathfinder, which is D&D adjacent, introduced the Wendigo as a monster using Larry's Deer Man design, but they perfected it, in my opinion. They made an undead monster. So instead of just like the buff deer man with the antlers,
Yeah.
it became the skeletal ghoul deer man.
I just looked up Until Dawn Wendigo, and there's some terrifying photos.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
the
I know.
images are
It's-
great.
Yeah, it is creepy.
Yeah. It's horrifying.
So Fessenden's production company also published a book called Sudden Storm, a Wendigo Reader, which I have not purchased, but I have been told can be a little bit hard to obtain. But I'm very interested in at this point. So as far as like other media and novelizations, even H.P. Lovecraft referred to the Wendigo in the Myth of Cthulhu. And we have the legendary Pet Sematary by Stephen King,
Of course.
who's in the books and the movie, more so in the books, but in the most recent movie, the Wendigo is a personification of evil, an ugly, grinning creature with yellow-gray eyes and ears replaced by ram's horns, white vapor coming from its nostrils, and a pointed, decaying yellow tongue. And there is a very, very brief moment in the most recent Pet Sematary remake that you can see the Wendigo, which you couldn't in the original. I don't know if you guys looked that up, but it was bothering me in the Pet Sematary movies if the Wendigo is actually seen, because you know it's there.
Right. It's not, is
I
it?
missed.
Or is it?
I think I missed that. I don't
In
know.
the most recent one, there is like a split second. If you Google it, you can find it. It's a blurry image. There's
That's
nothing concrete. But I like it better that way, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
And those guys, the two writers and directors, are huge Stephen King fans, so I could see them totally doing something like that, like real quick, kind of Easter egg almost.
So, have you guys read The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon by Stephen King?
Yes,
I have not actually.
So
it's
there is
good.
a
and
there
it's
is a
getting an
fan
adaptation.
theory.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I've been looking for a new book to read. Maybe I'll do that.
Yes,
It's good. I
fan
like
theory that the Wendigo from Pet Sematary is the antagonist in The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, which is a whole new way to read that book.
Huh?
Interesting.
That's fun.
Yeah, so it has not been confirmed, but it lines up, and I've watched a couple theory videos on it, and it makes a lot of sense. Even, thinking that like Stephen King understands it, and there's even a few oddball theories out on the YouTubes that the Wendigo ties into Pennywise at some point in form of lore.
Mm-hmm.
So that's up to you guys to go down that rabbit hole and follow the Stephen King Wendigo road.
I mean, it could in it Pennywise, but like I don't remember that in the book or in the movies. It would be cool, but it's not ringing a bell. I would love that connection in The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon,
they're coming out with I think it's Lynn Ramsey who got picked up to do the film adaptation. Have y'all seen we need to talk about Kevin?
I haven't
Yes.
yet, and I
I
need
have.
to.
Yeah.
Oh, that movie's so intense.
It's
Yeah.
hard.
So I'm the only one that hasn't seen it. I feel left out.
Oh man, it's
It's not an easy watch.
It's
no,
not.
it's not.
It's not, but she's a phenomenal director, and I love that she's taking this project on. I'm going to do a little sidestep with this because there's the little girl in the book by Stephen King. It's just great to have like a little girl who gets abandoned in the woods, and it's a little female protagonist. She's probably like 10 years old, so to have a female director on board, especially one like Lynn Ramsey, because she's fucking dark, dude. If you see, we need to talk about Kevin, and then also what was the other one that she did with Joaquin Phoenix? I'm Not Here, or what was it?
He's not really
Oh,
here.
yeah.
He's not really.
I'm not
I'm
really
not really
here, I think.
Yeah, something I'm
We're
not
never
really here.
Yeah.
Yes, that movie. You Were Never Really Here.
Yeah,
That movie is
yeah.
phenomenal too. So definitely read the book and check out her film.
I do also
will
want to
say.
quick. I think we talked about Hoopla. Was that like a few episodes
Yes.
back? I
Yeah,
just
the
looked
library app.
I just looked up The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon, and it is on audiobook from my local library.
Oh, nice.
tomorrow. So
And it's not that long. It's not like 1,000 pages. It's only about 300 or so. It's one of the shorter Stephen King novels.
Yeah, I think the novella, one YouTuber that I would like to give a shout out to is called CZ's World. I don't know if you guys ever listened to that, but he does breakdowns of things you may have missed in horror movies, and that's where I got the
that's fun.
connection
That's cool.
between the Wendigo in Pet Sematary and the girl who loved Tom Gordon. And it's not confirmed, but it's very
Still,
interesting,
it's
and
fun,
it makes
yeah.
sense when you sit down and look at it.
Yeah.
So something else that in novels was The Magician that came out in 2007, The Secrets of the Immortal by Nicholas Flamel. And then another recommendation for people looking for Wendigo stories was William Hume Blake's 1915 short horror piece, A Tale of the Grand Jardine. So lots of good reading there, but I think the Wendigo, to me, is the most effective in my eyeballs. So do you guys have a favorite moment when you saw a Wendigo on screen?
God, I don't know. That's hard.
Or like if you've been scared at all by a Wendigo?
I
Wait.
don't think so.
So-
but
I think we showed it at Panic Fest. Dark Was the Night.
Yeah, that's in my list.
That's a Wendigo movie, isn't
2014.
it?
That is absolutely a Wendigo, and that is my favorite.
That movie was
Wendigo.
actually, I really enjoyed that movie.
Okay, so I can't talk enough about that movie, and I'm glad you said it.
Yeah, I forgot about that movie.
Everything about that movie made me happy.
I remember watching it. I think we did it was one of the early U.S. premieres at Panic Fest, and I remember watching it in a packed theater, and it was super fun to watch that way.
Yeah,
And the
cinematography.
The monster's super effective too, because you don't really see a lot of it initially.
Not till the end.
Yeah, which is
and
my favorite. That monster movies are so much more effective that way to me.
And I think because after we've talked about the origins and the lore of the Wendigo, and the main actor in that movie being so consumed with his divorce and the kid, and he's got so much shit going on.
Right.
I just want to give that man a hug.
Yeah. Kevin Durant, right?
Yeah, and he's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't think that movie got enough love ever.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen that one.
I mean, God, it came out in 2014, so it was either at Panic Fest and it had to have been.
No, it was absolutely at Panic Fest because I
know
remember
for sure, but was it 2014 when it actually came
It was
out?
2014. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember really enjoying that movie.
Yeah, it was phenomenal,
But
and
I haven't seen it since.
I wish I could say this without Googling it. I want to say it's on Amazon Prime.
Ooh, I don't know.
I recently watched it on a platform, but I subscribe to a lot of stuff, so I don't want to throw that out there. But people should look that up because you don't see a lot of raw Wendigo lore.
Oh, it looks like it's on Hulu.
Hulu, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, TV, we have Supernatural. Have you all seen that?
I have not. I'm so bad. So many people I know watch that show, and I have never seen it.
Yeah, I feel like Supernatural comes up once every other episode.
I know,
All of our
like, an
episodes.
episode of everything.
15.
Yeah, I just rewatched it actually when we were talking about doing this episode because I was like, oh, I've seen it, but it's literally the second episode of the entire show. So, it's been a hot minute since I've watched it, and so I watched it. It's not the most exciting episode of television I've ever seen in my life. It's mostly like a drama, to be honest, because it's kind of about this sister who's trying to find her brother who's lost in the woods, and the reason he's lost in the woods is because a Wendigo has like captured him and is keeping him in its lair. The interesting thing is that in that particular episode, as far as the Wendigo goes, it doesn't have antlers. It's mostly just like a really tall, like emaciated man is kind of what you do see. You don't see it very much at all until it's like lit on fire. So and they do recognize that the only way to kill it is to light it on fire. They said like bullets don't work, knives don't work, like they have to set it on fire in order to kill it.
Which is interesting because we didn't really we didn't cover that, right? Like how they said
No.
you supposedly killed Wendigos.
So the Algonquin speaking people just said there is no cure for a Wendigo. You have to kill them, but there was no like specific way of killing them. But in their theory, it's still a man,
Right.
So there shouldn't be any silver bullets or
yeah.
But I have
basically.
I don't really understand. I mean, they probably just added it to make it more exciting,
Right.
but and they were like, we want to use a Molotov cocktail.
I swear,
That's a beautiful on-screen effect.
I swear I saw somewhere in
Yeah.
my reading that somebody believed you had to remove the heart, and oftentimes they burned it.
Okay, so that is a thing because their hearts were made of ice.
Gotcha. Okay. So maybe they
Yeah,
took
that if you could burn the heart, that would kill the spirit from going into someone else.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, okay, well then maybe that's part of where they got that from then.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically they just like find the Wendigo, and also they talk about how they do mention in the episode how the Wendigo is never satisfied, like it's always hungry and it can always eat more. And then also that the Wendigo hibernates. That's another thing it talked about in the episode.
Interesting.
Which was kind of weird. And so like that's why it kept its food in like a cold, dark place and it would keep it alive for long periods of time so that it could sustain itself. Like,
well, if your
and so it
food's
would just
alive,
keep
it won't
eating
rot.
Pieces off of it. Yeah, exactly. They'd keep eating pieces off of it.
But also, if they're active
So.
mostly in cold weather, wouldn't that just preserve the body anyway?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sorry, ladies, but I'm thinking I can eat all I want, and I'm not going to get any fatter. I'm just going to get taller.
We're back to
Right, like
yeah, I don't
the
think you're really gonna
metabolism
look
is strong.
cute though. I feel like I would much rather be like chubby and look like an alive human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like be super skinny and be like disgusting.
I mean,
So
do I
cannot
really
say I
need
agree
my
with you,
lips?
Andrea.
I don't know. I'm trying to figure this out.
We're back to eating people again.
Yeah,
I like
that's
I like my chub rolls. I think they're cute.
Yeah.
yeah. You've got your Cannibal Coven member Andrea over here. So Supernatural's fun. I have not watched it. I know there's tons of super fans out there, but my favorite couple iterations of the beast into Hannibal and Teen Wolf. And I know I'm probably too old to be watching Teen Wolf, but I'm gonna say right now that if I have any 30-something-year-olds out there that have not watched Teen Wolf,
No.
you should.
I've heard Teen Wolf is actually pretty solid, but
It's
I'm not.
Wait,
So
are you
gr-
talking about the original?
No.
No, No,
the remake.
the
TV show.
remake, the
I
TV
watched
show.
part of it.
Okay, because I'm like over here, like what?
Oh, no, I've
Who
seen
the
the
fuck
original.
hasn't seen
Yeah.
Teen Wolf? Okay.
No, so there's a few shows I'll defend to the death,
Isn't
and
it an MTV show?
yeah, I'm like so
Yeah.
old, and I love the Teen Wolf TV show. Riverdale is another one.
Riverdale's fun.
I couldn't
Yeah, and if
remember
you like
Riverdale.
that, you're gonna like Teen Wolf.
Okay, it sounds like in this Sabrina, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina style or universe or something.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I didn't know there was
watched
this
Teen
show.
Wolf when it was on TV.
Huh.
For at least a few seasons, and I really liked it. I mean, like his best friend, I think, is like a genuinely good actor.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name now, but he was in like the Maze Runner series and stuff. Which I'm not a huge fan of that. I've never seen those, but I think he's good in the show. He's really funny. And yeah, that show's good. I mean, I watched it until there was like the weird lizard thing, and then I kind of like forgot about it.
I don't
So-
know what you're talking about, but now I want to.
So you have to watch it now, and you'll get it. Yes.
Yeah.
But I think for me, like Hannibal, and I don't know if this is spoilery or not. The show's way old, so it's not, right?
I mean,
No, it's
talk about
not.
it.
It's just you can
Okay.
talk about it.
So Will Graham is the FBI agent, and he's on a case, and Hannibal Lecter is helping him on this case, but he doesn't know that Hannibal's Hannibal at this point. And he's having nightmares, and he sees this Wendigo, which to me, like, I need to cosplay this thing. It's just like a jet black, oily stick figure of a person, which I don't know how I'm gonna make myself that thing. But they're like 6 feet tall and have antlers, and it's just like a vision. And he keeps visualizing this in his nightmares, and which is like in the TV show is so amazing. I hope somebody picks it up so they can finish it because it is great. But the whole iconization of Hannibal, the cannibal, and a Wendigo, like, I don't know who came up with that idea, but they deserve like all of my money for whatever.
Well, and it's funny because we talked about this earlier before the podcast started, but like I didn't know that was a Wendigo because I wasn't familiar with the antler Wendigo thing.
Yeah.
And so when I watched Hannibal, I just thought that they were using symbolism of antlers because of the importance of antlers in the show itself. which
So
I'm
you were
sure
thinking
that's
like the
probably
ghoul
why.
Wendigo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I just hadn't ever like made that connection. So, and I bought the Funko Pop of the of Hannibal, like because there's like the Funko Pop of the Wendigo Hannibal, like of the
Yes.
black,
Which
with
is
the antlers.
gorgeous.
Oh, I
And
saw that. It's
yeah,
cute.
I bought it for like a friend of mine that really liked the show. I mean, I also like the show, but I just don't have the Funko Pop of it. I bought it for someone else. But
Yeah, I'm not only a fan of the show, but I'm also a Funko fanatic.
Right, I knew that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's a thing.
So do you have it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
he has like an insane collection.
I have a problem.
Okay.
That
Oh, wow.
we'll talk about that on another episode.
So good.
So, have you guys seen the TV show Grimm?
I have.
no.
I have
Okay. Do you love it?
I don't.
not.
I mean, it's fine.
Okay, so I
Damn.
love that show. I have yet to finish it because I, like Doctor Who, don't like endings. I don't like saying goodbye, and I very rarely finish the last season of a series I'm watching. And I hear
Yeah.
Grimm did not go out well.
It
But
doesn't shock me. I'm sorry, Andrew. I feel like for me, it's really hard for me to get into anything that's like a major network show anymore.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like they all are like really like they follow too much of the procedural like because I mean that's why I dropped Supernatural because it like just became a procedural about demons like
Sure.
which is like okay that's kind of fine and of course I'm over here as like the #1 Buffy fan of all time.
okay,
Which I know
that's not fair at all.
You could probably say that Buffy was like also a procedural. but, like,
Absolutely.
but I don't know. I just can't. I have a hard time with like modern day, like cable network shows. I pretty much only watch like HBO and like Hulu, Netflix, like stuff like that.
Well,
Okay.
a lot of them
So-
don't know when to
I'm a weirdo.
stop, you know?
I can say
Yeah.
I loved Grimm. I thought the character growth and the creatures were freaking great, and especially for primetime TV, the boundaries they pushed for sci-fi. You don't get a lot of fantasy on
Yeah, you don't.
network
anymore.
TV.
It was really popular in the 90s,
Yeah, it
but
was.
in like
yeah,
early
and so
2000s,
I
and then
thought
it kinda
Grimm
died
did a
out.
really great job of that in trying to bring lore in and different tropes and things. But they also had a Wendigo. So if anybody hasn't watched that, I definitely recommend that. It's worth a rewatch as available. The show's canceled now, but I thought that was really great. And then fun facts in TV for the Wendigo
Yes.
is the DuckTales Christmas special, Last Christmas, in which a
Yes.
Wendigo appears described as a poor soul and turned into monsters by obsession and desperation. Which I'm like, isn't that Scrooge? Am
Yes.
I
love
off
Yeah.
on that?
No, that's him. Like,
Have you guys seen it?
I mean, I
I
remember
don't know if I
DuckTales.
have. I mean, I
So
remember
this-
the show, but I don't know that I don't recall a Wendigo.
So
don't
this
recall
Christmas,
that,
we
but-
all need to look up Last
Yes.
Christmas on DuckTales and watch it for the Wendigo.
Yes. I remember watching that show when I was little. The motherfucker had like a whole room full of gold coins. Of course he's a Wendigo.
That's very
greedy.
true.
If greed has anything to do with it, I'm like,
Yes.
how is this guy gonna tell somebody that they're like a monster by obsession and desperation?
He's greedy as
Hmm.
hell. He has way too much money. I don't remember if he
Okay.
was nice
Oh,
though. Is
the
he a
Wendigo
jerk?
looks cool in it.
Really?
Yeah, I just googled it.
Google.
Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know about supernatural guys, but I love DuckTales. I get like so
Great.
excited.
I also got excited, so
I know.
Yeah.
Me and Kaylee are like, ooh, yeah. DuckTales.
hell yeah.
No, Marissa, you can't say ooh. It's ooh.
Oh my god, so true. Oh, I love it.
And I think when we're all thinking we're safe and hiding in our beds, the Wendigo hides in the
Duck
most like
Scrooge is gonna show up.
yeah, no, the Wendigo is in the most inconspicuous of places, like the My Little Pony universe.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Uh,
I
yeah.
love that one.
So we're talking about Friendship is Magic, season 2, episode 13, Hearth Swarming Eve.
Oh my gosh, that title. I love it so much.
I need thoughts from you ladies on this.
I don't know.
Has anybody actually
I mean,
watched it?
No.
I am not surprised. This show is so weird. I mean,
But we're not talking like 80s creepy bronies.
No,
like we're talking
yeah.
like new, like
No,
politically
New My
correct.
New My Little Ponies is very different from like 80s
80s.
My Little
Yeah.
Ponies. Yeah.
but it's still weird. I mean, they're still doing like really. They have some weird freaking creatures on there. Like,
Yeah.
there's like all I know is that there's like this weird like dragon that's like patched together. I don't really remember what he's called, but like he looks very weird. I don't know. This is all just information I've gotten from watching the Brony documentary.
Careful.
Liz,
So
have
I
you
can't
watched-
say that
how
I-
many times have you watched that Brony documentary?
Once.
We don't want to piss off the bronies though, so be careful.
We already pissed off
I'm
the
not-
Star
I'm not
Wars
dissing
guys.
them.
So.
I was watching it to understand their culture.
No.
So, Kaylee, can you do a brief synopsis of the Wendy the Wendigo theme song?
I can do my best.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so I
please.
will say, well, I'm not gonna sing, first of all. Second of all, I
Okay,
will say
lame.
I don't have a good voice. It's based on a comic, I guess, and then somebody turned this like comic page into a song about Wendy the Wendigo.
Okay.
It says pour apple cider in your face. I don't know.
Is it warm or cold? I think that's the very important element to that.
Probably warm.
It's hot.
Oh, ouch.
Specifically, it says
Okay.
So burn your face off with apple cider.
I mean, made it 45 seconds into the song I sent you guys, so.
I'll have to check it out because I am very intrigued about My Little Ponies now.
Okay.
I feel like it's so weird when these shows that sort of get reanimated or, touched up decades later, like they look so different.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and I think part of the Wendigo's insertion into My Little Pony is the whole deer man, Fessenden, Wendigo image of the gaunt, zombie-like person with a deer head and antlers and a pony. Like, that's like such a creepy freaking thing. But I was just reading that they were talking about Clover the Clever, which apparently is a pony.
Oh God, we're going down a rabbit hole.
No, this is happening. Realized that the blizzard was created by Wendigos. They were supernatural creatures that thrive on hate and fighting, and that the coldness of their hearts had brought the disaster upon themselves. Just as the ice was about to completely imprison them, the spark of their friendship ignited, saving them, and drove back the Wendigos.
Sorry.
I love that.
Did everybody get warm and fuzzy right there? Because if you didn't, there's something wrong with you.
Yes, that's so precious.
Yeah, this is love right here. And
I did just get distracted by the homepage discussion on that website.
Don't listen to the chats on the websites.
Oh my god.
It will ruin you.
Can you imagine being a writer on children's shows like this? I mean, who the hell comes up with stuff like that? Like, the power of their friendship melts the icy Wendigos and all is saved.
Because they're going to eat us, but they won't if we love them.
I just feel like there's so much, like, weed involved.
Or not enough. I'm not sure sometimes.
Oh my god. They're kind of cool looking, though. I like the animation.
Yeah, I do too.
So we have that, and then we move into movies. 2001 is when the movie Wendigo came out, which is my hero, Larry Fessenden, came into the deer man image of the Wendigo with the antlers. A lot of people like to give a lot of fucking hate to the Lone Ranger that came out in 2013. I am a little, like, not one way or the other on the movie. I think it's fine. But my favorite quote from the whole movie is, "All these years, I thought you were a Wendigo, but now you're just another white man."
Oh my god.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I think I'm going to leave that at that to not get too into things. Going into 2014's Dark Was the Night. Yeah. It makes my little Mexican heart happy.
Yeah, we all like cringe and curl up like
Yeah. But I'm half white, so yeah, that's it. 1999, Ravenous, a movie I would recommend if anybody is into Wendigo lore. In 2017, a movie called The Ritual came out.
Dude, that movie is so good. The special effects are
not
so
Wendigo.
Did I see that movie?
Okay, don't tell me about it because I haven't seen it yet.
I did. I know. Yes.
Okay.
Right.
It's a Netflix one.
Yes,
Yeah, it's good.
solid. That movie is
Yeah.
great. Yes.
The creature is so
the creature
good.
is so good. Yes.
That's the reason I included it, because I am an old school sucker for like Godzilla, big monsters, cyborgs. Like, I like monsters.
I'm a monster person too. I love monsters.
The Ritual frickin' nails it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I will criticize the rest of that movie all day long with whoever wants to at me about the character's motivation and the script and the direction and everything else about that movie. But I love the creature and the direction and the cinematography and the sound.
Yeah, the creature, the whole like creature and the setup of how the creature comes into play, I think is really great.
So,
Yeah.
Kaylee, do you know what the creature is?
I don't.
It's from Norse mythology.
Okay.
And it's actually, I'm probably gonna butcher this. It's a J with the O with the 2 dots over the top. Tunn. Is that Jotun?
Ooh, I have no idea.
I'm
Gotta
not sure how you
pronounce-
pronounce it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's Norse. It is not a Wendigo.
Norse mythology is very cool, though.
Yeah, and I thought it was a Wendigo. Like when I was watching it, I was like, oh, this is it's not. I was wrong. But I highly recommend for anybody that likes this type of topic, that movie would be very good for them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. That because like 4 friends reunite, right? They're like
Yeah.
their best friends.
And I'm like, the
dies.
one guy, like, they're going into the woods. And he's like, you should not go into, like, we shouldn't go into the woods. I'm like, yeah, don't go into the woods. Solve
Yeah.
your whole movie.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
dummy. Movie
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, movie's done. But luckily for us, it didn't. And there is some amazing effects in that movie.
Yeah.
I adore that monster.
I feel like maybe that movie lost some steam because you heard me minutes ago. I was like, wait, did I see that movie? And then I Googled it and realized I did. I feel like the title kind of kills that.
It's
I don't think it's the title. I don't know. For me, it was a lot of the like monologue and directing.
Well, I think the title just makes it lose like a little bit of like,
Yeah.
like you're scrolling through like a good horror monster movie to watch and you see the ritual
Like,
and you're kind of like, meh.
I promised a coworker I'm gonna rewatch this movie because she loves it, and I loved the monster, but I didn't love the movie.
Yeah.
And I need to rewatch it and give it another chance and just really soak myself into it and see what I think. But I still think everybody else should watch it.
I agree. I think
Yeah, go ahead, Kaylee.
I was gonna say, I think even if you don't absolutely love it, it's worth a watch.
Absolutely, yes. Okay, so video games. The only one I found was Until Dawn that was released in 2015, which is kind of major because it was a huge video game release and it was the first video game that featured a Wendigo as the main protagonist, which in people are like basically hiding from Jason Voorhees in a campsite away from the Wendigo. So this video game started out, they wanted to bring my hero, Larry Fessenden, in as a cameo. And then they not only ended up bringing him as a cameo, but he rewrote the entire game. I have not played it. I don't think any of you guys have played it.
No, I haven't played it, but I've heard good things about it.
But I think maybe this might be like a fun thing to do, like Black Magic Coven plays.
Honestly, that would be fun. I'd throw
Yeah,
that in.
like we could all get together and play this game because I really want to play it.
You can get it at Best Buy for $10 right now. So
Absolutely, that sounds like a winner chicken
I
dinner.
also am so obviously a big horror nerd, love it. But horror games are so hard for me to play sometimes.
What?
Yeah, they're so scary.
I love them. I always love them, but I always have to like pause for a second and walk away because they freak me
Okay.
out so much more than movies.
Yeah,
do.
they scare me so much.
You guys,
I
I'm
agree, Kaylee.
gonna tell you guys something you can't tell anybody else. I like to watch people playing horror games,
I've done that.
but I
before.
don't want to actually be the one playing it. Like Clock Tower back in the day, I would like watch my friends play, but I don't want to actually be the one with the controller. I'm fine watching it as long as I'm not the one directing what's happening.
Yeah, I can see that.
It creeps me out.
It just gets because you have to make the decision and you know something's about to happen, and it's different than a movie for me because it's obviously it's more interactive. Yeah,
Absolutely.
horror games
Yeah.
hit me much differently.
So that's what I'm playing Little Nightmares right now.
Oh man, I've heard that's
I am
great.
too.
Are you really?
Are you really? Oh,
Yeah.
I
Oh my
literally-
god.
Oh,
Sorry.
I almost bought it the other day.
I love
bought it
this
on Black
game
Friday 'cause it
so
was cheap.
much. It's scaring.
Yeah, it's really cute.
And parts of it I've had to like, I have no shame. Like I'm going online and looking at playthroughs because I've gotten stuck and I
Yeah,
need help.
I do that all the time in games.
Yeah, but it's scary and really great.
Yeah, I've been playing it with Blair, so we'll trade off. And usually if I get annoyed, I'm just like, Blair, figure this out. And like, he's pretty good at games, so
Now
he'll, like,
I'm
do it.
jelly.
But
I opted
yeah,
for
it's pretty fun.
I opted for Paradise Killer on Black Friday.
Okay.
Ooh, that game is also awesome.
Okay.
I loved
So
it.
far, I
I've
like
already
it a
finished that one.
I tried to
Yeah,
buy
it's weird as
Spyro
frick.
on Black Friday, but the pre-owned title was on the shelf. But when I got up to the checkout, she said they didn't have it, so I was extremely sad.
Oh.
Wait, so Andrea, what do you play on? What kind of system do you have?
Yeah, no, you're good. I am Alienware PS4, PS5. I actually still
Okay.
have a PS3 that I
You
play
got a
on.
PS5?
Yeah.
God damn.
You know where I got it?
Girl, where?
Nebraska Furniture Mart, because nobody
What
else
the
thought
fuck?
about it.
That sounds right.
Oh my god. Girl, I'm
And you
so
know what's
jealous of you
even-
right now. I
No,
literally
you
have
guys-
tried to buy a PS5 multiple times.
I'm gonna get murdered. We don't have a game for it yet.
Are you waiting for Cyberpunk?
No, we got the system because we were freaking out because fuck them kids and we needed the system, and it became available online and we bought it and like I just need Spider-Man. I have to play that game because Miles Morales.
Yeah,
is,
it looks dope.
yeah.
Sorry, Marissa.
Well, anyways,
gosh,
you
no,
guys
sorry,
have
Tim.
No, I mean, y'all go for it. I'm just not a big gamer, so I'm just
Oh my god,
listening.
no! We had to have one. So, Liz, you guys are looking for a PS5.
yes.
Okay, if I see something pop up, I will buy it. I don't know if you guys remember, like months ago,
I
we
do
were
remember.
recording,
Yes.
and I was like, I gotta go. The PS5's on sale.
Huh?
Oh,
I
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
get
yeah, I
it
do
then.
remember that.
Yeah, it didn't happen because bots.
Yeah, I it's okay. Don't worry too much. I mean, like, cause I'm 100% gonna buy it on a credit card and then pay it off because I'm a responsible adult. So.
Well, that's why we did
Uh,
Nebraska Furniture Mart because I got a card there.
Yeah.
There
They
you
have
go.
good fucking interest rates.
Exactly. Yeah. it was the smart adult
This
thing to
podcast is
do.
going off the rails right now.
Sorry.
Thank you,
Tim.
Nebraska Furniture Mart. Hey, can we get a sponsorship from
Yeah.
Nebraska Furniture Mart?
Yo, that's a place to go. That's where I bought my TV this year.
And their clearance section is the bomb.
Oh man.
Like the returns, like you got like a half a sectional.
Marissa, have you ever been to Nebraska Furniture Mart?
I have.
Oh, you have.
I have. Oh yes, I love them. Shop
Yeah.
them regularly.
Fuck yeah. I love like you can get something for like $99 or like $9,099.
And then if you're like, oh, I $500 TV that's really nice, and I haven't bought a new TV for myself ever in my life, and I just bought a house, so I'm gonna treat myself.
Oh, treat
0%
yourself.
interest
Yeah.
for 2 years or whatever. So
And we'll take your old shit away for nothing.
yeah, and I just have to pay, like, I can pay it off in like 6 months, and it doesn't cost me anything extra, you know? Oh,
Yes.
it's brilliant.
Yeah, they should definitely sponsor us. That's for sure.
Video games. None of us have played Until Dawn.
No.
Okay. But we've decided that Until Dawn is an amazing video game that features the Wendigo as an antagonist, which Larry Fessenden came in and cameoed and wrote for because he is the Wendigo king of postmodern culture. And if you didn't love Larry Fessenden up until now, I'm going to beat it into your brain that you are going to love Larry Fessenden. IMDb him, look him up, watch all of the things. That's my only recourse from keeping you from turning into a Wendigo. So finally, we have comics. And I think you ladies are going to appreciate the image I shared in the Slack.
Yes.
Yeah, giggle.
Yeah, we've been talking for like 2 hours at this point.
Oh god.
About
He's-
yeah, the Wendigo.
Yeah, this is going to get chopped up, but we've got The Incredible Hulk number 181, which features the first appearance of Wolverine. So we got the Hulk fighting the Wendigo, which had happened once before. But this dude looks like a little Sabretooth, a little Jack Lynx guy, like fully buff Sasquatch dude, basically. in winter terms. And so him and Wolverine are standing there, and then like Hulk's going at it with him. And so Hulk and Wolverine look at each other and they're like, hey, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So they go out the Wendigo, bada bing, bada boom, you got the Wolverine. So basically, Wolverine has the Wendigo to thank for being popular at all because this was his first appearance.
There you go.
So that's that. Thank you, Hugh Jackman.
Thank you, Hugh Jackman.
I love Hugh
I do
Jackman.
too. I really do.
But how do you guys feel about this, like, buff, fuzzy Wendigo?
Totally unnecessary.
It's ridiculous. It's
And
absolutely
Kaylee's
ridiculous.
just laughing because she's thinking about his junk.
No, that's not true.
I'll say it. I said it.
Oh,
He has-
Marissa's gonna say it.
he
Can
has
we say
small-
this?
Yes, he has small dick energy, no doubt. Yes. It's completely overcompensating.
Yeah. He has the most massive shoulders and the little V with the ribbed abs. But then you got the, like, Ken doll anatomy.
But
Yeah.
to be fair, there is an elbow blocking whatever's happening down there.
We need to publish this picture so the public can see
It's
what we're
just
looking at.
it looks nothing
oh.
like any of the other. Like, it's so far off from any other version of the Wendigo.
No, don't you guys feel like the Marvel Wendigo is very reminiscent of Sabretooth? Are you guys Marvel?
Yeah, I know what
Okay.
you're
Yeah,
talking
he
about.
does look
Yeah,
a lot
he
like
does.
Sabretooth. Yeah.
Well, it's just weird because this artist is clearly incredibly talented, and they could have done
Yeah.
something so cool with the
Yeah.
traditional lore
Exactly.
behind the Wendigo, and this just feels very like, yeah, it's like the Hulk but hairy and kind of like Sasquatch.
It's like super muscular, like
He literally
bodybuilder
had-
guy with like a fur coat on.
Yeah, it's.
He has a six-pack. It's so
I was
dumb.
just gonna say that.
I think he's got like an 8-pack. I don't know.
Yeah, probably. Like, he's
Yeah.
not starving. It's ridiculous. I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
No, me either.
Well, and he's obviously just not eating any meat out because like it's gonna have to be organically grown
Yeah,
and
homeboy's got
grass-fed.
like 5% body fat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might be
Like,
vegan. I don't
He's
know.
clearly not thriving off of human flesh.
No. So that's that thing. And then the other comic adaptation that I wanted to mention, just because I love it, is Daryl the Wendigo from Hellboy, and BPRD. And on the website Mignolaverse, there is actually a page, Northern Hunger Becoming the Wendigo, that is amazing. And I recommend anybody that's interested in this topic go look at. And the post just kind of goes into the history of Daryl, but just the Wendigo in general. And I actually pulled a lot of information about all of this tonight from that page, which I did not expect to get from Mike Mignola from Hellboy. But Tom Hardman actually wrote the article, and it's freaking awesome.
Is that all there is to know about the Wendigo? Did we cover everything?
I don't know. There's a lot. Like,
There really is a lot, yeah.
yeah, so you can become a Wendigo by eating a person, thinking about or dreaming about the Wendigo, being gluttonous or excessive in your life,
Dreaming about the Wendigo. Well, we're all gonna dream about the Wendigo tonight.
right? Or driving through Wendigo territory,
That sucks.
like the
'cause
guy on the
Canada is
bus. Like you're
gorgeous.
just driving through, and then all of a sudden, bam!
That does suck. Man. So we're just doomed, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know, I feel
colonialism, like sea to shining sea, swallowing up culture. I think it might be our destiny.
Capitalism.
Yeah. Right? So yeah, so that is all I've got, which was a lot on the Wendigo. I could probably spend an hour on every single segment of my outline, but just trying to include it all, I am enamored by the whole thing. I think it's terrifying to be in the Northeast in the winter in the 15 to 1800s
Yeah.
and trying to survive and not eat your family because you think you're going to die.
Yeah.
Like, that whole concept is just insane to me. And I would love to tie this theory into Roanoke in the fact that they were in the same area in the same time period, and that
They all became Wendigos and
fuck yeah,
ran away as they find flesh.
yeah, but we don't have time for that. So I just threw that in at the tail end because it's all in the same area and the same time, and I love it.
Mhm.
And somebody should write fan fiction about it, and then I will read it. But do you guys have any closing thoughts on Wendigo or the whole lore, origin, or progression of pop culture with it?
I'd love to see more of it and explored more thoroughly, because I feel like there's a lot of really cool stuff that you can do with the legends and also special effects. Because even when we were talking about the ritual, I couldn't remember their names at first, but the special effects team on that film that created that monster, Josh and Sierra Russell with Russell Effects, they're a husband and wife duo team, and they make some really gnarly, gore films and features. And I just think it'd be cool to kind of see more films, exploring that folklore and really doing practical effects with it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
The animation ones are cute, but like I think that's I don't know. I think it's a really cool opportunity. I'd hope to see more of it. But
I'd also like to see more that actually delve into or focus more, I guess, on the actual lore, like the originating lore behind it, and less of just, we like this creature, so we're gonna kind of take it and use it kind of similar, but not quite in the same vein.
So you think like the Wendigo psychosis versus the cryptid, where it's actually a person that's turned, like, is it not a zombie?
Mm-hmm. I mean, sort of.
I mean,
yes.
I would say it's not a zombie because you're not undead. You're like still alive, but you're just you crave human flesh for whatever reason. I mean, which I think is interesting. I feel like honestly there hasn't been like a ton of cannibal movies. Like obviously there's like Hannibal Lecter, and we all know him. But I feel like there hasn't been like a ton of like straight up cannibal.
Like the Green Inferno. I mean, there's not like a lot.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and I guess so it might be interesting to see some more of that type of movie, like delve into that concept of like Wendigo psychosis and like create a story based on that. I think there's definitely stuff there that you could do, and it could make a pretty good movie.
I agree.
I mean,
yeah.
And it hasn't been done.
And I'd like for more like Native American representation too. It seems like a lot of
100%.
It seems like a lot of these adaptations kind of fall flat on that. So it's a way to like get more Native American or Native, actors and actresses involved and more representation. Like instead of just taking their folklore and fucking it, you know?
Yeah.
Definitely.
But it's still fun to think about. I definitely did not know about that connection with the dude who severed that guy's head. I don't remember hearing anything about a Wendigo in the news. I never was aware that there was like some sort of the Wendigo psychosis correlated to that case. That was
and I don't think it was ever like you know, like in these cases you're not gonna get like a proven in court thing. It was just very odd, the space he was traveling through, and he had no prior psychological issues. He was going for a job interview. Like the whole thing was just very, very strange.
Yeah, that's wild. It's terrible. But
so,
interesting topic.
Lots of good content here, though. For me, I will always latch on to that Pathfinder gauntly deer man Wendigo figure. Like that is the scary thing for me. I also love the Hannibal Wendigo figure, but learning through this research for the podcast of the original Wendigo and the just like massive human scary thing that it's all terrifying, and I don't want anybody eating my liver at 2 a.m. So I'm gonna try to love my community and be a good human being and not gluttonous and I have a advent calendar full of cheese in my fridge, which I'm gonna eat day by day, and not all at once. So I'm good, right?
Good.
Something else in a book club I'm in I wanted to pitch real quick is called The Only Good Indians by Seth Graham Jones. Have you guys read this book?
I have not.
I haven't finished it, but I've started it.
You have started it. Okay. I just got it in the mail today, and I'm super excited about it. I cannot say anything about it because I haven't read it yet, but have heard nothing but good things. So I kind of thought it fit the topic for what had me spellbound this week because I'm super stoked to start it. What are you ladies into?
Oh god. I will say I watched the new movie on Hulu, Run.
Ooh, I haven't seen that yet.
Oh my god, it was so good.
I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. I started it one night.
Oh my gosh, I loved it.
I finished it last night. I started it the night before and I got, 20 minutes in and realized I was exhausted and ended up waiting to finish it until last night. But yeah,
I think
absolutely
Liz
loved
said,
it.
"Oh my gosh," 2 times, so I'm very excited about this.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah, it's really good. It's so suspenseful and like it was really well done.
And-
Like I mean, it's basically about Munchausen by proxy, but
Yeah.
like I think they do such a good job like making it still interesting because I feel like that's been done a lot.
I agree.
Like I mean, we've heard a lot about it in the recent years, you know.
With Gypsy Rose.
Yeah, with Gypsy
Yeah.
Rose's case especially, and like in that Ma movie, there was like kind of a
Yeah.
storyline
Yep.
of that, which was really.
Oh, hold on.
fucking
Is this
stupid.
about Gypsy Rose, the burlesque dancer?
No.
Oh, never mind. Okay. I'm like, wait, what?
Wait, do you not know who
You don't
Gypsy
know who
Rose
Gypsy
is? The true crime.
No, I know there's two. There's like two. There's like Gypsy Rose Blanchard, and then there's like a Gypsy Rose that was like a burlesque dancer.
I'm not
Like,
laughing at you.
Oh,
I'm
no.
laughing with
they
you.
came through Kansas City, so I'm like, wait a minute,
Yeah,
which one is this
because-
about?
Because
Okay.
Gypsy Rose, the Munchausen by proxy case, was in Springfield, Missouri, which is what
Okay.
half
Yeah.
hours away from here.
So I don't know if you guys know the Gypsy
Yeah.
Rose burlesque thing. Like she performed at the Folly. She was like one of the very first burlesque dancers. So both things happen in Missouri. So I have to be sure.
Okay,
Okay.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're
Gotcha.
good.
No,
You're
but
good.
it's
It's a really crazy story. The Act is a show with Patricia Arquette,
Uh-huh.
and I think it was on HBO.
Joey
or
King.
Yeah.
Hulu. Yeah,
it
Joey
is.
King.
I haven't.
Yeah, it's on
I
Hulu.
haven't
That's a
watched
good
it
show
yet,
about it.
but
It's really, really good. They're both good in it, and
I-
then like the documentary is on there too.
I don't even remember. It was a podcast episode. I don't remember what podcast. When I first heard the story of Gypsy Rose, and it just blew my
Yeah.
mind. And then, everything with her trial started happening, so you started seeing more about it. And yeah, but Run is a similar concept.
Yeah.
with
Have
Sarah
you guys
Paulson.
seen that? Bailey Sarian does a murder mystery makeup Monday thing about Gypsy Rose.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, she's awesome. But Run, I would highly recommend it if you love a good like hour and 30-minute PG-13 thriller movie. It's really well done. It's got Sarah Paulson in it, who
I
is
love
an
her.
amazing actress. And I wasn't familiar with Kiera Allen, but she plays Sarah Paulson's daughter in the movie, and she's also really great.
Nice.
But it's a pretty slim cast. There's really not a lot of people in it. It mainly focuses around the mother and daughter.
I have been. I've been working on a piece about female horror directors, and this one kind of fits in with what we've been talking about with the Wendigo. The movie Raw. Have y'all seen the French film Raw?
Mm-hmm. I have.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, so if you're looking for a good cannibal film, this one is really unique. It's French. It's like a French horror drama written and directed by Julia Ducournau. I probably messed that up. But it's a really interesting film. It's very visually beautiful as well, and super gnarly. So if you're looking for a good foreign film or cannibal film, I would definitely suggest that one. I think it came out in 2016. And it might be, the French title is Grave, so you might find it under that. But that was one of the films I was writing about earlier this week, and I was like thinking about the Wendigo a little bit. But
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm trying to think. I recently started watching the HBO Max show, The Flight Attendant.
How is that?
And I'm liking it. So I would say that's a pretty good one if you want to check it out. I've been enjoying it. It's got Kaylee Cuoco, who I mean is not somebody that I normally like seek out by any means, but she's doing really good. She's basically like an alcoholic flight attendant who the story opens with her and she hooks up with a passenger on her flight. They're in Bangkok and she wakes up next to his slit throat dead body and like is like, what the hell happened? And is in a foreign country, so she just ditches. And so then it's kind of like this unraveling of like a mystery. It might be bigger than you might think, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really good. I like it so far. So I think like the first 3 episodes are on there, and it's like a decent thriller. I'm enjoying it, so I would recommend it. But yeah, Run on Hulu gets a second from me too.
Speaking of that, you watched The Undoing too, right, Liz?
Oh heck yeah,
Okay.
I was.
I need to watch
good.
that.
Did you watch the
behind on
finale?
shows.
Yes,
cool.
and it was literally, I was freaking out because HBO Max, the app, like was messed up right when the Undoing finale like got on the app, and like it was like messed up for like 45 minutes.
Oh,
and Blair
man.
was like, "It's gonna be fine," and I'm like, "I want to watch it."
I need to know the end. Yeah, that show's great. It was
Yeah.
God,
Yeah,
see, I'm
it's
so
really good.
jealous. You guys are watching all of the awesome shows, and I'm watching Forged in Fire on Netflix. But yeah, if anybody's interested in blacksmithing and watching guys make swords, it's a pretty great Netflix show.
It sounds like it might be soothing. Like
I was just
It-
going to
it's-
say that. It sounds like it'd be
No,
very
like
relaxing.
seriously, it's a reality show, and they make blades, and then there's these guys that test them, and one of the guys has to see if it kills or maims, and the other guy's like seeing how well it goes up against like hard surfaces, and yeah. So Forged by Fire
cool.
on Netflix. It feels lame now after all that, but yeah, that's what I'm watching. So if you liked what you heard, please join us next week for our episode on childhood fears. Interact with us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Black Magic Coven, and be sure to use the hashtag Black Magic Coven. Like what you hear? Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe on Anchor FM, Spotify, Apple Tunes, or wherever you listen to podcasts. This concludes the gathering of the Black Magic Coven.
You're listening to a downright creepy original on the Crickets Podcast Network.